Hello, girls, ladies, and anyone else who may stumble upon this podcast. This is the very first episode, but I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I'm really glad you're here and you're listening. I've been blessed to know so many amazing women in this lifetime, and among them, I've been especially influenced and inspired and found strength and drive because of my two amazing daughters, my granddaughter and my mother's spunk, and the resilience of my grandmother. As we live life and experience loss, I found myself wanting to hold on to memories from the past, especially stories of those people that I have lost, those loved ones that are no longer here. Um, I found that I wanted to leave those stories ingrained in my, children's memories. So I've lived a pretty eventful life, and I have a friend that often says to me, "Tell me a story." She's often amused and tells me that she thinks I should write a book. And that's not the first person that has told me that. So I have to tell you that on occasion, when I'm sharing these stories, I actually surprise myself and amuse myself when I realize that I'm not talking about a character, that this isn't fiction. This isn't a telenovela. This is shit I actually went through. So I wanted to create a place for me to share my stories. This is a very beautiful time in our lives because both of my babies are expecting babies. Mother's Day is just around the corner, and I wanted to create this podcast as a gift in honor of them and a place where they can come years from now and listen to pieces of their mother's story and share it with my grandchildren. I hope that others who may listen will be able to relate to some of my journey. Mostly, I hope that you can laugh and find some joy or some inspiration in them. I will be sharing stories about my life. Some may seem exaggerated or dramatic, may seem traumatic, but they are from the perspective of the little girl, teen, or woman who experienced them at that time of of her life and with the lens that she saw them with at that time. One of my daughters gifted me a book that she wanted me to fill out and tell her about my story. So this is part of a gift for my daughters, and I will begin by telling you the basics. I may throw in a memory or two while I'm at it, but you should know that I was born, my birth name is Jacqueline, and I am called Jackie. Very few people ever call me by my full name. It typically would just have been my parents. And I was born in November of 73 in this little town called Brawley, California. Um, my parents were Teresa and Salvador. My mom was born in Guadalajara in May of 1953, and my dad was born in Mexicali, Mexico in March of 1954. My mother's life doesn't sound, it sounds actually very hard. She didn't have a very loving childhood. And although she was the youngest of the siblings, she definitely wasn't babied. She was made to take care of all her sister's children at a very young age. And she left her house pretty early as a teenager to come to live in the United States with her sister. Her sister was pretty strict. She could be pretty harsh and sometimes abusive. My dad was born to my grandmother, which you'll hear a lot of probably about during these podcasts. But his father was a musician and was away a lot. My dad doesn't talk much about him, my dad didn't talk much about him, but the stories that he did share did not paint him in the best light. He didn't seem like a very kind man, and he died in a tragic car accident when my dad was very young. My dad's mother was loving, and she, my dad was her baby. He was the baby of seven children, and she always, cuddled him. But she worked a lot, being a widow to seven children. So the kids were left alone a lot, and they took care of themselves a lot of the time. And I think that's very common for those of us that are older generations, that, we kind of fended for ourselves